Been waiting on the sunset, bills on my mindset. I can't deny that getting high, higher than my income. Income's breadcrumbs. I've been trying to survive. The glow that the sun gets right around sunset helps me to realize that this is just a journey. So drop your worries. You are gonna turn out fine. Whoa, you'll turn out fine. Fine. Whoa, you'll turn out fine. But you gotta keep your head up, whoa, and you can let your head down, hey. You gotta keep your head up, whoa, and you can let your head down, hey. I know it's hard to remember sometimes, but you gotta keep your head up, whoa, and you can let your head down, hey, 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 hey. I got my hands in my pockets, kicking these rocks. It's kinda hard to watch this life go by. Binding skeptics, skeptics mess with confidence in my eyes. Seeing all the angles, it starts to get tangled. I start to compromise my life and my purpose. Is it all worth it? Am I gonna turn out fine? Whoa, you turn out fine. Fine. Whoa, you turn out fine. But you gotta keep your head up, oh, and you can let your head down, hey. You gotta keep your head up, oh, and you can let your head down, hey. I know it's hard to remember sometimes, but you gotta keep your head up, oh, and you can let your head down, hey, 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 hey. Only rainbows after rain, the sun will always come again, and it's a circle, circling around again. It comes around again. I said only rainbows after rain, the sun will always come again, and it's a circle, circling around again. It comes around, but you gotta keep your head up, oh, and you can let your head down, hey. You gotta keep your head up, oh, and you can let your head down, hey. I know it's hard to remember sometimes, but you gotta keep your head up, oh, and you can let your head down, hey. Keep your head up, and you can let your head down. Keep your head up, and you can let your head down. Keep your head up, and you can let your head down. I said, oh, no, 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 no. Hello, Mile High Church. Happy Sunday to each and every one of you. It feels so very good to be back with each and every one of you virtually on this Sunday morning. I haven't been here in several weeks because I've been taking care of my wonderful father. But it's good to be here with this Mile High family and with this amazing Mile High band. That's Mike Marlier on drums. I've been gone a while, so sorry. Mike Marlier on drums. Bijou Barbosa on bass, Rob Lowe on keyboards, and Dr. Kent Rautenstrauss on piano. So let's go ahead and just fall into the silence right now, into a beautiful, familiar song as we begin our service with music and meditation.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is
please join me as we move into prayer. I recognize that there is one power and one presence that animates everything we see and everything that we are. There is a divine creative intelligence that moves in, through, and around me, that moves in, through, and around every being on this planet. And as I look at our beautiful Rocky Mountains, I see the hand of God so beautifully orchestrating this magnificent universe. And I know that I am an expression of that divine creative intelligence. And I know and affirm this for all of us, that we are indeed beautiful, unique creations of the divine, and that there is a power for good in the world, and we are expressions of that good. I recognize that wherever people have gathered today on this planet to worship, to come together, whether it be in a temple or a church or an ashram, whether it's a mosque or simply by a forest stream, we honor all paths to God, knowing that we are one united human race. I am so grateful for this beloved Mile High Church community, that wherever we are watching from, I absolutely know and affirm that we are connected in mind and in heart, and we stand together as one. As we move into this time together this morning, and as we move into this service, I am so grateful for Dr. Michelle Medrano's message. I know that she enlarges our perspective and moves us into a place of heart and acceptance. And today we honor all mothers and the legacy, all those beautiful beings that have sustained and created all of us. How grateful I am for the nurturing, the love. And we just celebrate and honor those beloved mothers today on Mother's Day. I also know and affirm that there is an amazing pattern of divine health and well-being that is restoring each and every one of us, restoring our beautiful world, and healing our planet. I am grateful. I am grateful to know that all of those elements, those qualities of the divine, are operating in each and every one of us. Wisdom, courage, strength, patience, kindness, compassion, healing, and well-being. And I know that as I release these words into that beautiful alchemy of love and law, that all is well, because all is God. And so it is. Amen.
Pray to be more willing for my God. I pray to be more willing for my God. I pray to be more willing, God always fulfilling, needs me ever willing in my heart. Resting in the presence of God's grace, resting in the presence of God's grace. My God gives all so freely, showers us with blessings, resting in the presence of God's grace. is fulfilling, needs me ever willing in my heart. Pray to be more willing for my God. I pray to be more willing for my God. I pray to be more willing for my God.
Thank you, Jennifer Burnett and our Mile High Band, and welcome to Mile High Church. It's so wonderful to all be together virtually and, of course, spiritually. Our spiritual community here, our spiritual teaching, we believe that there's a life-transforming power that comes in recognizing that there's a power greater than we are in the universe that we can use. And today we celebrate that power as it expresses as mom. We honor Mother's Day today, but we also honor how the sacred expresses as the Divine Mother, as the Divine Feminine, and how it shows up. And I don't know about you, Barry, and Dr. Michelle, it's great to share the stage with you today, that the place where I've experienced the divine love the most in my life is through my own mom and through the mom energies that are. And we're so grateful to celebrate the Divine Feminine and all of our moms and all of you moms that are watching us today. And I know we have an incredible service planned as well. I brought a quote to share today from Karen Mazin Miller that I think speaks to the idea of honoring Mother's Day, but maybe speaks a little bit to what we're going through now with coronavirus, because for us, the feminine principle isn't just the creativity of giving birth, but it's creativity itself. It's a deep and divine love, and it's the principle of rebirth. And I don't know about you, but that's one of the biggest qualities that I'm finding right now is this need to be reborn in the midst of all the changes going on around us. And the quote goes like this: "You are born completely endowed with the perfected wisdom of the awakened mind. You are a miracle. You are a genius. If you don't believe it, have a baby." Or simply notice in each instant that you are giving life to a world that is brand new. Mothers face fear, sickness, and pain to be handed a crowning glory, the opportunity to bring a new life home and leave an old life behind. We are each, no matter what, given this gift right now. And so, Dr. Michelle, happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you very much.
And, how does the role of momness and just that feminine principle show up in your spiritual life right now?
There's an allowance to the creative process that is so powerful in my mind, an allowance that is this synchronistic alchemy of dancing with life and with intentionality and with the desires of my own heart and soul that then allow something to emerge from me. And then once it's emerged, to continue to dance with it without trying to control it. And so I really appreciate this conversation because it's going to give me more time in my talk, because one element that I've been contemplating for Mother's Day is the power of having a child and watching this other being dancing in their life and being a guide and an encourager and a feminine nurturer, the nurturing presence, but allow it to become what it wants to become. So I've been sharing stories with you all today about, my son is now doing his thing, and I'm going through an even more profound practice of just allowing him to be him, and that's the greatest gift I can give. Just like in my life, as I allow things to unfold and I can look at them and meet them where they are and not try to be too controlling, that's the masculine. Do it my way, my way, my way, versus the allowing feels like the feminine to me. So motherhood has taught me that dance a little bit more powerfully.
I think there's kind of this balance, and this comes from observing motherhood, but the way I observe it, there's this aspect where it's like stepping onto a treadmill and never stepping off. There's always this part that's thinking about the child, that's operating in that way.
Yes.
And I know we say of moms that they love their children no matter what, but what I've learned talking with moms and experiencing motherly love myself is that love is also evolving.
It is.
we're always learning, how can I best love, my child in a new way? And that includes kind of in our own lives with our relationship with Divine Mother, or
Right.
the Sacred Mother, of what is the love that we need from the divine, or our moms, or our mom, families out there to help support us in that.
Absolutely. Yes.
How about for you, Dr. Barry?
Well, I think, a big part of the heart of the Divine Mother is compassion, and just a willingness to stay with you. I mean, your mom is always rooting for you and then always pushing you forward at the same time, and that thing that you were talking about, Michelle, of letting your child go and move into adulthood. And I think, in this time that we're in now, that divine feminine of compassion to be in a time of uncertainty when you don't know, but to know that you're loved. That's, I think, what we're looking for in the divine feminine right now, is that we are loved and we're going to make it through this. And, we don't want to fall into the illusion that somebody has the answer, because we don't have the answer. But the truth is that we're loved. You talked about that, that divine energy, that divine wisdom that we can use, that we can tap into, that is alive in us. And I think part of it is that just compassion of knowing that we're held in those loving hands. And that, to me, that's what the divine feminine is about, is to really hold us during this time of uncertainty, rather than we've got to march in a certain direction. We've got to really, we got to be compassionate with each other, and to realize that everyone's going through a time of confusion. And we are part of that family, and that Divine Mother's holding all of us.
Yeah.
There's a listening element to it, isn't there? Because I know that as kids grow and evolve, when they're young, they really tend to listen to their parents, and then they go through a period where they don't listen and they just do whatever their ego wants them to do. And then as they get wise, they grow up and they start listening again. And in some degrees, what you're talking about seems to be our culture. Like, we don't listen to ourselves, that inner authority that is constantly mothering us, that divine presence that's constantly mothering us and giving us good advice, and we can get kind of rebellious about it at times, just like our kids can.
Well, I think maybe one of the biggest mistakes that we make is we think we're just born once.
Yes,
When
yes.
when the truth is our physical birth is just the start, and we
Yes.
grow into being young children and teenagers and adults, and it's the same feminine principle that we have to give in to be reborn. From my male-centered ego, there's so many times when I realize that the way I'm thinking and who I think I am is no longer going to be that way of thinking that's going to take me into the next phase of life.
Right.
And who's been there for me in those times is my mom and the female mentors, and as well that female energy that's within us all that helps us move into that creative soil to be reborn. And it means letting go of what's been, even though it's served us to this point, into something new, which I think a lot of us are kind of pondering in life right now, as we're hopefully preparing to return to our everyday lives in a new and profound way, and hopefully with a lot of love and compassion from others and towards ourselves too, right?
Yep. Compassion and listening to our own sense of what's right for us. I mean, because the reality of, say, the virus is, if they opened up everything today, there are some people who would still, I think, have to listen to that inner voice that says, no, stay home. Stay home. And then that rebellious part that says, but I want to go. No, it's time to stay home. Yeah.
Yes, stay home. Order a
Stay home.
pizza. Get it, whatever it may be.
Call your mother. Call your mother.
Yeah, and if you get anything out of this, whether it's through technology or through connecting with your mom and those moms to you and your inner life, give yourself that gift today. And any further thoughts for us, Dr. Barry?
Well, I think one of the things that the divine feminine shows us is that feeling of surrender. Because moms have to surrender. They have to let go and surrender to something greater that's evolving through them. And I like to think that something greater is evolving through us right now. And we've got to surrender to it and bring our heart to it and bring our wisdom to it, and know that we can evolve into something greater, and just being a part of, feeling ourselves as part of a family. And the thing that you said, Michelle, about pushing against things and that rebellious nature that we have, that's part of us. But there's a greater aspect of us that can surrender to a greater wisdom that's coming through. And I see a lot of that happening.
Yeah, nothing lasts like a mother's love. And, we all have our own story with our moms or the mom figures in our life, but I think it's so important, especially in a spiritual sense, to not cut yourself off from experiencing that compassion and that divine love that's within all of us, female or male, to bring into our lives and help transform us. And so I know we're going to get all sorts of elements in our service of that today. I want to give a shout out to Reverend Carol Wilkie, who did our opening prayer. It's so good to have her back involved in the service today, and want to say a happy Mother's Day to Jennifer Burnett as well, who's prepared, a song to honor moms. And so just invite us to be in that divine female energy, to call to mind and to heart all those mom presences in our lives as we honor mom in all of her facets and expressions this morning.
So this song is dedicated to all the mothers out there, and no matter what you're experiencing as a mother, whether it's a desire to be a mother, love is at the base of it. Grief for a mother or for a child, love is at the base of it. Or the beautiful experience of getting to nurture a child of your own, or a stepchild, or any child that is in your life, love is at the base of it. So this particular song is dedicated especially to you, and we hope you enjoy some beautiful images and pictures of our Mile High moms. I have sailed a boat or two out of the wild blue, yonder to dreams that rarely come true. As far as I can see, from this island of green, I can put my trust in just one thing, and only love sails straight from the harbor, and only love will lead us to the other shore. And out of all the flags I've flown, one flies high and stands alone. Only love. Peaceful waters, raging sea, it's all the same to me. I can close my eyes and still be free. When the waves come crashing down and thunder rolls around, I can feel my feet on solid ground. And only love sails straight from the harbor, and only love will lead us to the other shore. And out of all the flags I've flown, one flies high and stands alone. Only love. And only love sails straight from the harbor, and only love will lead us to the other shore. And out of all the flags I've flown, one flies high and stands alone. Only love. Only love.
Happy Mother's Day. We're so grateful to be holding this online virtual service today, and we're so grateful for all of the financial contributions that have been given to Mile High Church through this time and all the time. And please know that you can tithe to give 45888. You can go to milehighchurch.org and give a gift that way, or you can use snail mail and mail in a check. And we're so grateful, and we've been receiving so many kind notes with those checks as well. We have such an incredible Mile High congregation. Hey, question for you. If you could see Dr. Michelle interview anyone in the world, who would it be to show here at Mile High Church? Kind of a fun question, and our services team was getting together and going, gosh, what's a great interview for Mother's Day? And we all agreed, we all came to consensus that we would want to see Dr. Michelle interview her own mother, Linda Frazee. She's a great friend of the church, an incredible woman in her own right, and so they taped a conversation that they are brave enough to share with all of us, and we're going to view it right now.
Happy Mother's Day, everyone. I get to interview a very special guest today for Mother's Day. This was a great suggestion from the beautiful creative team that I get to work with. And so I have with us today a beautiful lady from Scottsdale, Arizona, someone I have known for 56 years, and some might say from other lifetimes. In this lifetime, she is my mother. And I'm so grateful to welcome Linda Frazee here. Hi, Mom. Happy Mother's Day.
Hi. Happy Mother's Day to you.
So glad you are here with us today, and it's good to see your beautiful face. Our team put together a whole bunch of questions for us, and we don't have time to answer every question. So I thought I would do a little bowl. I put them all in a bowl, and I would draw one out. And so let's just start with one of these questions, shall we, and see what we get.
Okay.
So the question I got was, what am I most proud of you about, for me to talk about you and you to talk about me? So let me go first to celebrate you for Mother's Day. What I am most proud of about you is that I remember very clearly you when I was a little girl, and you were such a young girl, such a young mother, and you are so different now than that woman that you were as you were young. You were amazing when you were young, but I know that there were challenges in your young life and things that you had to overcome. And so I'm most proud of you for those challenges and changes, and you're the most courageous person I've ever known as far as your own personal growth goes, because you just persisted like no one else to rise up above those challenges, and I'm very proud of you for that.
Wow. Well, thank you very much. That's very, very kind, Michelle. And, that means a lot. I'll hold that in my heart. So what I'd say about you, about what I'm most proud of you, the list could go on, and that could take up all our time. So but in just trying to be more succinct, it's the authentic part of you. You have dared to be authentic along the line, all along the line, from the time it's almost 30 years of being a minister, 29 this year. And a lot of people think of ministers as serious people, and you can't do this and you can't do that. And you've retained your sense of humor all through it. In fact, your sense of humor is part of your trademark, part of Michelle, and also this authenticity that you share with other people. You share your vulnerability, you share all of that. And I think that helps other people grow and trust you more, because it's so important. So I think that's among the many things that I'm proud of you about. I think those are the top ones.
Thank you, Mom. I really appreciate that. And with that thing that I mentioned about you, your ability to transcend such difficult conditions at times, especially now that we're in the middle of this quarantine time and this virus, what advice do you have for people? My mother, in case you all don't know it, my mother is a very powerful expert in the Enneagram. She's been in counseling as a counselor for many years. She's done counseling herself too, but she has been a counselor to people. She has a company that's called Positive Imagery, and she's been an expert in imagery and visualization for years, a motivational speaker from all over the world. So I bet you have some input or advice based on your own life experiences and all of the knowledge you have that could help people right now during this time.
Well, I think it is a historic time. It's a historic time that we're all in. And I think that we have to be very diligent with what comes into our awareness and how we handle ourselves and during this time and being grounded. And I guess that probably you could, if you gave me half an hour, I could really talk a lot about this. But I had a post that I put up on Facebook, and I don't know if I can get it exactly quote myself right, but it showed the Calvary, and it said the Calvary's not coming. They're already there. They're inside you. And so what I'm encouraging people to do is to go inside themselves and find that inner strength that we all have, because a lot of the putting aside for a moment, which is a big putting aside, the death and destruction and the fear and the loss. I don't mean in any way to minimize that. However, there are a lot of people who are actually so anxious and so afraid inside when there's really, they're safe inside in their own houses. And what they're really longing for and what they're really missing is being out and doing the things that we all already did. And they want somebody to come and save them, somebody to say, okay, now it's time, whether it's the governor or the president or somebody says, okay, now you can have everything back. And my advice is that you're already safe inside. And even if there's a loss, even there's terrible loss, there's terrible worry, if there's financial worry, all of that, inside yourself, if you can ground yourself and stay safe inside and be grateful for this time and be grateful for the help. I know you guys did a food drive, so I'm sure that has been very useful. Or, if you can help somebody in a safe sort of way, but be grateful for it. And I guess my advice is that this too will pass. I know it will. And you don't want to look back and remember it as a time where you were in a ball of fear the whole time. Hopefully you will able to ground yourself, connect yourself to your higher power so that you can remember that you went through this in a graceful way. And you can tell your grandchildren about it because it will be in the history books.
It sure will. It sure will. Thank you. Great advice.
Yeah.
And let's end with some fill in the blank questions that
Okay.
Josh gave us. How about that?
Oh no. Oh dear.
Okay, yeah. So the first one is, I can't believe Michelle.
Well, that's an easy one. I can't believe Michelle got a second cat when she's allergic to cats.
I'm not sure I can believe it either. Thank you. If Michelle wasn't a minister, she would be.
Well, she'd go back to her original. She'd be a singer and an actress.
Oh,
Maybe both.
that's true.
Singing actress.
Yeah, you're right. And the advice that you give Michelle is?
Slow down. Slow down. Don't work so much. Let other people carry some of the load. Really relax and really rest more and take it easy. That's the advice I give to her all the time.
Oh, thank you, Mom, and happy Mother's Day. And today we're also talking about the legacy that we are and the legacy of our lives. And I think that my life has been certainly made greater because you've been my mother, and I just love you.
Well, thank you very much. And mine has been greater because you've been my baby and my daughter.
Bye, Mom.
Bye.
In the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. In the songs of all my great grandmothers and the dreams of all my great grandfathers, and the way to rise beyond the plain old leaf, oh, leaf, oh. land of I am, more than I have been, I am more than I will be, I am all that I am. In the land of I am, more than I have been, I am more than I will be, I am all that I am. And the smiles of all the unborn children, and the dreams of a brighter day to come, and the dance of heaven with the earth, all live, all live, all live in me. In the land of I am, more than I have been, I am all that I will be, I am all that I am. In the land of I am, more than I have been, I am more than I will be, I am all that I am. In the land of I am, more than I have been, I am more than I will be, I am all that I am. In the land of I am more than I have been, I am more than I will be, I am all that I am. Been wrong and disgraced, abused and displaced. Been wrong and disgraced, abused and displaced. Been lied to, but lies can be seen through in the land. You can't fall from grace in the land. You cannot be heard in the land. There's more than enough in the land. You're always at home, always at home, always at home, always at home, always at home. Oh, in the land of I am more than I have been, I am more than I will be, I am all that I am. In the land of I am more than I have been, I am more than I will be, I am all that I am. In the land of I am more than I have been, I am more than I will be, I am all that I am. In the land of I am more than I have been, I am more than I will be, I am all that I am. In the land of I am more than I have been, I am more than I will be, I am all that I am. In the land of I am more than I have been, I am more than I will be, I am all that I am.
Just feel that energy. In the land of I am. Wow, it's great to have Jennifer Burnett back. It's so great. It's so great. Thank you. Thank you. Happy Mother's Day, Jennifer. That song is a beautiful song to lead us into the next part of our service today. I'm so looking forward to sharing a message that begins a series. And the truth is that we had a whole group of people visioning about this series quite a while ago, because this is an annual series that we do called Adventure and Prosperity. And we came up with a series title, Legacy of Love, through the visioning process and through Reverend Josh and myself talking, and came up with this great plan. And then everything changed, and it became a time to really evaluate, is this series and the whole premise of it still relevant? And as we reflected on it, and as I reflected on it, what I began to realize is that this whole series is about legacy, building a legacy, and looking at the meaning of our life. And it seems to me that when life gets really dramatic, and when the things that we know, the structures that we know exist, fall apart, or things change dramatically, or life changes dramatically, as it has right now, many of us find ourselves in a more reflective place. And that reflective place sometimes includes a very important question. What am I doing with this life that I have? What is the meaning of this life? What am I contributing to this life? What is the predominant way that I am making a difference in the world? Because I think that we all, in the depth of our being, hope that when it's all complete, when we're at the end of our life, we will be able to look back and say, I did make a difference. My life mattered. My being here contributed to humanity in some way, shape, or form. And so it seems like with the changes that we're going through, with so many of what we would call normal structures falling away, so many things that we do and we're about falling away, it's a great chance to visit that. And so we're going to do that for this whole month of May in different ways, looking at the ways that different aspects of our life can help us to build legacy, to build a life that matters. When I contemplate these questions, I often ask myself to take a test. And I've shared this test here on the Mile High stage before with those of you who've been with us here at Mile High Church, and I'd like to share it again. It's a test that asks us to compare a couple of things. For example, it invites me to ponder things like, okay, who won the Super Bowl this past year? Who won the best Oscar for the best actor or actress? Best director? Who won the Nobel Peace Prize recently? Who has won the Miss America contest or whatever those contests are about beauty and accomplishment? And all of these things are wonderful aspects of our life. But when I think about them, depending on my interest, I may or may not actually remember who the winners of those contests were. Contrast that to questions like this. Who's believed in me even when I had a hard time believing in myself? And names immediately arise. Faces immediately arise. My mother, my wonderful husband, Roger Teal and Erica Teal, Reverend Josh Reeves, the people that I work with and hang out with. The names just flow through my being. Easy, quick, faces of clarity. Who has believed in me? I like this question. Even when I am imperfect and sometimes behave badly. Same cast of characters. Rise forth, believing in me. Who do I know would be there for me no matter what? Same names. Same beings. Rise forth easily and effortlessly. And who supports me in living my best and being my best? When I ask myself these questions, I think the reason that these names and faces come so quickly is because the heart is the seat of where the legacy of living is built from. The heart that is the core of the love within us, that is the essence of us. When I look back and I imagine myself at the end of my life looking back, what I hope will be there when I get to my last day on this planet Earth is that I will be able to feel satisfied that I know that the people in my life knew that they were seen and they were loved. It won't matter what awards I've won, and it won't matter as much the things that I've accomplished. They'll matter some, but ultimately, I think that moment of stepping out of this world into the next will be filled with the greatest amount of satisfaction if I can say that I came here and I loved well, and people knew it, and I gave my gifts, and I showed up, and I did my very best. And as I've walked with people through that journey, as I've been with people in their last moments and been with them for maybe the last meeting I would have with them before they crossed over, I've noticed over these many years of ministry that none of them are obsessed about, did I make enough money? Did I do enough? Did I work hard enough? Did I work enough hours? It's all about the heart at that moment, the softening of the heart and the awareness of who I am at a deeper level. And so we then have a chance now, as we are being more reflective, to consider the possibility that we could create a life of deep, profound legacy. Now, when I looked up legacy in the dictionary, I found a number of different meanings. Some are more technical than others. But basically, legacy is a gift of a bequest that's handed down, endowed, or conveyed from one person to another. It is something descendable. One comes into possession of that legacy because it's transmitted, inherited, or received from a predecessor. And I think today that I'd like to explore with us in the beginning of this series 2 distinct ways that we find ourselves focused on our legacy of life. Now, often we ministers here at Mile High Church will lean into acronyms to support us as we share the talking points and the teaching points of our message, because we've been mentored so well by Dr. Roger and because we're very creative. And I will say I don't have an acronym today. And so I created my 2 talking points, and they are best probably remembered and embodied if one does them with a French accent. So I may become the minister who uses accents for my talking points. Maybe that would be my legacy of talking point contribution to Mile High Church. So one must talk as though one is French today to understand my talking points. I won't talk with a French accent through the whole talk. So I took the word legacy and I broke it down. So the first one that we get to look at is legacy. Legacy. Notice that the word in the middle of that is ego. Ego. And we have had many definitions of ego over the years. What this talking point is about is the challenge that we fall into many times of making an attempt to build our legacy on the structures and forms that are outside of us. Some people have defined ego as edging God out. There's an acronym for us. Edging God out. Or the ego can be defined often as the part of us that distinguishes itself as separate from other people. Now, this in and of itself, I don't think is a horrible thing for us to do, because part of the joy of coming into this planet and onto this earth experience is to experience the distinctiveness of what it is like to be me, the unique being that I am, my unique DNA, my unique personality, my unique gifts and talents, my unique relationships. And the universe, we believe that at the heart of the universe is what we call unity and diversity. And so our diversity and the ways that we're different or the ways that we're distinctive from other beings, they're not all bad. Not all bad at all. However, when it comes to building a life, the greatest challenge with legacy is the temptation to have that aspect of our life be the sole contributor, the sole measure and temperature gauge of how well am I doing at building a legacy that I want to build. And we know that we're doing this if we're spending way too much time doing. If we're overdoing, if we're forcing the forms of life to be such that people see them and we get acknowledged from them, if we are obsessing about making sure people notice us or notice what we've done or notice what we've accomplished, and that we get a huge amount of our own sense of self from the acknowledgement of others. And again, while acknowledgement from others is not a bad thing, it's a great thing, it is not the thing that truly builds legacy. I'm aware that in this life, it's very unlikely that I'm going to leave this life having solved cancer, cured cancer. It's very unlikely that I'm going to leave this life, as much as I would like to, solving the ecological problems of our planet and making sure that we have clean air and clean water for future generations. It's very unlikely that anyone's going to name a school or a college after me. All of that is great stuff, wonderful legacy, yet is not truly that deepened sense of satisfaction and connection. There's something deeper that's called for. It's all of the fun that we get to do and be and the things we get to do in life, and something deeper. And it requires of us to surrender and become willing to let go of our constant attempts to force the world and force things. In our conversation earlier, it was like, as a mother, recognizing I can't force my child to become something, that the greatest joy is to allow and to see the unfolding energy of my child. I've been watching shows and reading biographies recently, most notably of Judy Garland and Natalie Wood, and hearing the stories of their mothers. And not that their mothers were bad mothers or horrible mothers, it's just that their mothers were very clear that they were pushing their children towards a certain life. And that push became so controlling that there was a disconnect that occurred. And so it's important for us to realize, as we mother ourselves and as we mother our children, and as we mother and be the creative divine force of our own life, that we surrender to some degree and allow a deepening sense of the truth of who we are to emerge. There's some really beautiful lyrics from Melissa Etheridge that I love in one of her songs, and she says, "Mothers, tell your children, be quick, you must be strong. Life is full of wonder. Love is never wrong. Remember what they taught you, how much of it was fear. Refuse to hand it down. The legacy stops here." What if today, for each one of us, the legacy of building our life solely on the world of form and on how controlling we are and how much we're doing ended, and we could create more balance? What would it take? And so my second point with this, the point that I think is really at the heart of beginning to build a legacy of love in our life, is another word that we may say with a French accent, laissez-laisser. Laissez-laisser. It is a surrender into that divine feminine, that soulful place within us, that is the truth of who we are, that is the true sense of what seeks expression through us. And that a life that thrives in every way is a life that finds its balance in this legacy and laissez-laisser, that there's balance in that dance of unity and diversity. And there's an ability to sense the depth, and we stop the legacy of overdoing and overthinking and overclaiming, and instead find ourselves in a place of deep surrender. Because here's the truth about that. Legacy, as I said earlier, has to do with inheriting. Here's something that we believe that we've inherited. And indeed, great teachers throughout the ages have taught us this. Jesus taught this. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, taught this. We teach this. Your inheritance, my inheritance, is that of the divine. The divine I am as us. And that when we go into that deep, soulful place within us, and we have the audacity to claim those words, I am, what begins to emerge from us is a deeper sense of the desires of our heart and the gifts that we've come here to give. And it takes sometimes great courage and a great breaking away from the world of form to claim those gifts, to really deepen into those gifts, to have the spiritual courage to stand in the truth of who we are. As I watch our culture evolve, I will say that I have gathered great inspiration from our LGBTQ community to watch them struggle for many years and begin to experience a greater sense of themselves, and to be willing to become open and to dance forward sometimes into coming out in situations that could be dangerous for them, or in relationships where there could be a loss of love, a transgendered person choosing to follow their soul's desire towards what seems right for them. Great courage. And sometimes I think the culture around beings who have walked this walk is struggling because we all have our own coming out to do. We all have our own authentic self that is seeking expression through us. And we have to find the same kind of courage to stand up and allow that divine inheritance within us to show up, to show up. And so it takes reflection. It takes meditation. It takes quiet. It takes an inner listening. It takes a willingness to go into the stillness and the silence of our beingness and hear that call of life that urges us forth into our magnificence. I'm getting ready to teach a workshop starting this week with the wonderful work of Brené Brown, who I think is a great teacher of authenticity. And we're going to, starting Tuesday night, explore her book, Rising Strong. But one of the things I love about Brené's work is she really teaches people through this work to find those inner values that mean the most, to find those values that are true for each one of us, and talks to us about there's usually one or two. There's not 10, there's one or two. And that to me has been some of the greatest soul work of my life. To find that inner value that means the most. For me, it is love, as I said earlier. And what it then demands, and sometimes the reason we can be skeptical about that, is that we know a lot of people and companies and business who say they live at this level of high values and then they're not authentic about it. Or they do things or they behave in ways or they say things that are not in alignment with their values. And indeed, that can and does happen to all of us at times. But the thing that begins to happen is that with the deep recognition of our soulicy comes a clarity about my values. I value love. And therefore, if I've had a conversation or a moment in my life where I can say I was not in alignment with love, I know my work. To continue to build the legacy of the life I seek to build, I have to go back and clean it up, deal with it, figure it out, pray about it, do something, because my value of love constantly pushes me forward in this world of form, in my leigocy and in my lesolicy. And so I invite us to begin to do this work, to begin to open up this week. Next week as we come together, we're going to really dig into, okay, once I've gotten some clarity, and some of us may have it now and some of us may not, but this week is a week to deepen into that clarity. Once I've got this clarity, what are some of the best tools for me to really show up as me? And how do I do that in a way that feels safe and authentic and powerful for me, in a way that really serves me? And before I pray, I'd like to close. We have a slide of a great quote from Brené Brown. She says, at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of my life, I want to be able to say that I contributed more than I criticized. I want to say that too. And so we can say that as we lean into and call forth the legacy of our life. Let's pray together. I invite us to go within and to step into this deepened space, these questions and possibilities, this energy that swirls around and through us and as us. It is the divine dance of life that is calling each one of us into our greatness, into our gifts, into singing the song of our own beingness powerfully and joyfully, into standing powerfully and lovingly in the truth of who we are, in walking forward in our life in ways that take courage, that take inner connectedness, that take a deep listening. And so what I declare and accept from this place of connectivity that I know is the truth of each one of us is that this week brings forth for each of us a greater understanding of this, a greater wisdom that just rises forth and begins to have its way. Some of us will do this and find this by a deeper conscious reflection. Some of us will be moving through our life and suddenly we'll feel the bubbling up of that great remembrance of a deeper truth of who we are and what we're here to be. But we allow ourselves to feel the alignment and the movement and the call of this series and of this community to each one of us in being and living a great legacy of love. As the late, great Dr. Wayne Dyer would remind us all the time, we choose not to die with our music still in us. And so we allow this week the music of our own soul, the music of our own life begin to play. loudly, clearly, joyfully, we hear that song. We begin to dance to that song and move to the beat of our own soul, to the beat of our own heart, the beat of our greatness. It is safe. We can do this. We can reflect upon this, and we continue this journey together in love and light. I'm so grateful. I am so grateful because we can see how so many beings in life, so many examples of people who stood up and said yes to their calling, to their gifts, to their talents, to their soul. And we ride on the energy of those truths and those lights and feel our own soul in alignment. And in great gratitude for this prayer, I simply say thank you. I release this now into the action of that law that makes it so, and allow it to be, and allow it to move forward into creation. In love and light, we let it be, and so it is. Amen.
Yes, I am here to love. Yes, I am here to serve. Yes, I am here to be the love of God. Yes, I am here to learn. Yes, I am here to be. Yes, I am here to be the love of God, my God. And I know forevermore that I am loved. Yes, I know forevermore that I am loved. Yes, I am here to love. Yes, I am here to serve. Yes, I am here to be the love of God, my God, of God, my God, of God, my God.
Thank you so much, Jennifer Burnett, and thank you for being with us today. If you would like to put into the chats that you're watching us on things you already are discovering and feeling come forth about your legacy to share with other people and inspire them, please feel free to do that. And we know that our wonderful board of trustees here at Mile High Church are helping us to build a community, a legacy of love here at Mile High. And so we are so grateful to them, so grateful for their constant love and support. So thank you to our board. And if you are interested, we are looking for 3 new board members. And so if you go to our website at the About Us, you can find out how to apply and find out about an information session that is coming up soon that you can learn more about serving on our board of trustees. And it is also a great opportunity for us to continue to give into Mile High Church and to wonderfully establish that circulation of good in our life. And so right now, wherever we are, I invite each one of us to take a moment to circulate love and prayerfulness and to circulate financial good to this beautiful community. We're so grateful for the gifts that you continue to give us and to share with us. And so we love for you to continue to do that. You can do that by texting, by going to our website, and by sending in your gifts as we've already outlined and that you'll see on the screen. And we encourage you to continue to participate in partnership with us in that way. And so as we give this moment, let us say our affirmation together. So wherever you are, just join me in saying, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate, and so it is.
And now for something completely different. After love, no matter how hard I try, you keep pushing me aside and I can't break through. There's no talking to you. I'm so sad that you're leaving. It takes time to believe it. And after all is said and done, you're gonna be the lonely one. Oh, do you believe in life after love? I can feel something inside that say I really don't think I'm strong enough. No, do you believe in life after love? I can feel something inside that say I really don't think you're strong enough. No, what am I supposed to do? Sit around and wait for you? Well, I can't do that. But there's no turning back. It takes time to move on. I need love to feel strong. 'Cause I've had time to think it through. And maybe I'm too good for you. Oh, do you believe in life after love? I can feel something inside that say I really don't think you're strong enough. No, do you believe in life after love? I can feel something inside that say I really don't think you're strong enough. No, well, I know that I'll get through this. 'Cause I know that I'm strong. I don't need you anymore. I don't need you anymore. I don't need you anymore. No, I don't need you anymore. Do you believe in life after love? I can feel something inside to say I really don't think you're strong enough. No, do you believe in life after love? I can feel something inside to say I really don't think you're strong enough. No, do you believe in life after love? I can feel something inside to say I really don't think you're strong enough. No.
Mile High Band. I know we're so grateful, Jennifer, to have you back with us. Thank you so much to Bijou, Mike/Mark, Kent, and Rob. We're so grateful for you. So grateful that you were with us today. Thank you, Dr. Michelle, for your incredible message, your powerful genuineness, and for sharing your mom with us today as well. We've got some great things coming up at the church. Tomorrow night, our own Dr. Patty Lukenbach is beginning a series on pandemic grief. It's a free class workshop to experience. You can sign up online on our website and get all the information to join that class. And Dr. Michelle, your class starts on Tuesday.
I'm going to be teaching a class on Tuesday, all, as I mentioned earlier, Rising Stronger, based on the book Rising Strong by Brené Brown. We're going to study the 3 principles in that book in this 3-week class, learning how to rise strong.
And this Wednesday at 7 p.m., our own Reverend Jackie Harris is giving the message. I look forward to sharing the stage with her.
And if you would like some prayer support today, we've got you covered. You can go to our milehighchurch.org/prayer and either leave a written prayer request or go into a Zoom room, and practitioners are there waiting for you right now to pray with you and to support you. So Thanks again for being with us. Happy Mother's Day. Have a great week.